Hey guys, welcome back to the channel and thanks so much for stopping by. I really do appreciate it. Today I thought I'd show you something a little bit different, a little bit left of field. This is a beautiful Breitling Transocean Chronograph limited edition. Look, I've had this watch for a while, since 2012, and I've been meaning to do this review for a number of years, but just never really got around to it until now. Now this watch was released in 2010 and it's a limited edition of 2,000 pieces. Now the 2,000 pieces, and you can see the nice little laser etched inscription there. This is number 1091 of 2,000, but out of that 2,000 there was two configurations in stainless steel. There was this version with the black dial with the mercury silver subdials, and there was a full mercury silver dial as well. So look, I'm not too sure of the exact numbers, but it's probably 1,000 of this one and 1,000 of the mercury silver dial variant as well. There was also a rose gold variant, which was released in 200 pieces, and that is a cracking watch. Rose gold case, black dial, and with rose gold colored subdials. Very expensive, but very beautiful piece. And that one came on a black leather because obviously the Milanese bracelet they only do in stainless steel. So what have we got here? We've got a 43mm case, 14.5 height, 22 lug width, and the lug to lug is 55. So it's it's on the bigger side, not a small watch, but it's certainly not too big. It's a very nice watch to wear. I don't really wear it as a daily piece. I think it's, for me anyway, I've got a 17cm wrist, so for daily wear it might just be a little bit too big, but I wear this on special occasions and on the weekends, or if I'm going out somewhere and somewhere nice, I'll slap this one on and wear it about. It feels really nice to wear. So 2010 this one came out, and at the time, it was one of the first pieces to receive the Breitling B01 in-house chronograph caliber. So we'll talk a little bit about that a bit later. But they decided to reinvigorate or revive the Transocean moniker, or the Transocean line. Now the original Transocean was a three-hander which was released in 1958. Very elegant, very beautiful watch, but the chronographs of the time, and the watch that this is based on, were called top times, and this is based on the Ref 810, or the reference 810 top time, which was released in 1964, I believe it was. Beautiful vintage chronographs. I think it was Breitling's first sort of foray into the vintage reissue genre. And since then, though, since 2010, they've brought out a number of cracking vintage reissues, namely the Navitimer 806, which came out a couple of years back. They brought out the AVI 765, which is more of a hardcore pilot's chronograph in the sort of Breguet Type 20 sort of mold. And I think it was this year they also brought out a reissue of another top time, which is called the Zorro. So that was, the Breitling's really, kicking ass basically in the reissue sort of field, and they're bringing back some of the killer pieces in the catalog. This one is a little bit different to the top time, the reference 810, mainly because of the size. So this is a 43mm diameter, whereas the 810 was a 38mm. I believe that had a manual wind Venus movement, whereas this one was one of the first watches to release the, at the time, it was the new B01 in-house automatic chronograph caliber, and that movement, you can see that there through the sapphire crystal case back. Look, it's not the most beautiful movement in the world, but it was designed to be, industrialized and mass produced, and people say that it's, one of the best, if not the best, mass produced chronograph movement that's going around in this price bracket. And I'm not going to argue with that. I'm not a movement nerd or a movement expert, but this has got all the cool tech in it. Column wheel, vertical clutch. This has got 70-hour power reserve, which is fantastic. 47 joules. It's got a patent or two on various components in the movement. So it was really a big deal when it was released. I think the movement might have been released in 2009, maybe 2010. But it came out in this watch, in the Transocean line, the Navitimer, and the Chronomat. So this is one of Breitling's, or it was at the time, one of Breitling's sort of premier watches. And you can just look at it. It's stunning piece. I just love this watch so much. I love wearing it. I love the way it looks and feels. It's a large watch, but I don't think it's too big. I've got a 17-centimeter wrist, so it's it sits nicely. Fills up the wrist, but it's not. It doesn't hang over the sides of the wrist at all. Very, very comfortable with the Milanese mesh bracelet. When I first got this, I just thought this bracelet was a work of art, and I still do actually. It's just an amazing feat of engineering. I don't know how they do it, to be honest, but I think it's a company called Stabe, which is a German company where Breitling gets the mesh bracelets from, and you can buy Stabe mesh, from places like Strapcode and that sort of thing. Fully polished case, which, look, I think probably the only downsides to the watch that I can think of are the fact that it's fully polished and, the bracelet's polished. So it does, in certain lights, it tends to be a bit blingy, and, you can see the reflections coming off it. But really, it's only when you're indoors and, you're under harsh sort of fluoro or UV lights. When you're just cruising about town and just going about your business, it's perfectly fine. What else we got? I think in terms of price, it's it was, and I guess the Transocean Chronograph line to this day is still pretty expensive. You're looking at, I think the current models are around the maybe 11,000 Australian list price. Yeah. On the secondary market though, you can get these for relatively cheap. I think 4,000 to 5,000 Aussie will get you into something like this on the used market. And at that price, the competition is sort of Omega Speedmaster, maybe Zenith El Primero, any sort of variant of the El Primero, and you're getting, I think you're getting a better movement than either of those two watches. This is also got 100 meters water resistant. El Primeros, I think, are maybe 50. speedies. I'm not quite sure what they are. But yeah, this doesn't have a screw down crown, but they still managed to get 100 meters water resistant. So I think that's really cool. What else? Yeah, that's probably about it really. The clasp is probably, the clasp is sort of probably a little bit underdone. I think it's kind of an old school style, just a clip and a fold over clasp. Probably a little bit small. It would be nicer to be a little bit more substantial, but hey, that's cool. It works. It's very secure, and it's actually kind of cool having a small clasp. I think just keeps it out of the way and means that you're not going to bump it and knock it around as much. So yeah, that's it. Oh, I was talking about the dial earlier before. The official word is that this is a black dial, but I don't know about that. Under the lights, let's just give this a bit of a clean up. I've noticed that under certain lights, it's actually it's more of a tropical dial. Not too sure if you can see that sort of, you can see the texture in the dial there, but the color is it's much more of a deep charcoal with some hints of chocolate in the right light. So I think they actually, while it's designated as a black dial, it's actually more of a tropical dial, and you can see that when you're outside in the afternoon light. When it's in the direct light, you can really tell that it's not quite black, which I think that's kind of cool actually. It kind of suits the mercury silver subdials, which again, this paint that they've done is really cool. It's quite dynamic and changes color depending on which light you're in. You can go from silver, almost white, sort of a light, very light silver, light gray, to this creamy color, to even like a champagne sort of, that champagne sort of color, which is really cool. It gives the watch a lot of added dimensions and dynamism, which is very cool, I think. So there you go, guys. That's a Breitling Transocean Chronograph, the limited edition. They made, what they did was they actually, after this limited edition, a few years later, they released a regular production version, which looks like this, but it's got red text on the dial. It says, I think it says from memory, automatic in red, sort of like the Daytona print above the middle sub dial, and the running seconds hand has a little red tip. I'll throw a picture in, so you can pick up that version. If you can't find this limited edition, you can obviously get the regular production version, which looks very much like this, but yeah, it has those little red accents. So if you're into this, yeah, you can go for that one as well. But the plain black dial also looks really cool. I think there was a blue limited edition as well. Quite a few different variants of this watch are floating around, and I think it's just a cracking piece. I think maybe people were scared of the price, but okay, let's talk about, if you're going to buy it on the used market. Maybe the size, maybe the number 43 maybe kind of scares some people off a little bit. And that's kind of fair enough, I think, because it is a bigger watch. But if you have, I think probably minimum maybe 16 centimeters, I reckon you could pull it off. And certainly if you're a bigger guy, say if you've got 19 centimeter plus, you'll have no worries with this one. You could even wear it as a daily if you have a large wrist, I reckon. So that's it, guys. Thank you very much. This video's gone on for a bit long. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.